The DRC's founding father and first Prime Minister, Patrice Lumumba, would have been 100 on the 2nd of July. He was murdered in 1961, a killing for which the former colonial power Belgium has apologized. Now, since Lumumba's death, the Democratic Republic of Congo has been plagued with years of war and millions of its people killed. The most prominent conflict this year has been the surge by M23 rebels in the east, where they've taken over large stretches of territory rich with minerals. Now, the foreign ministers of the DRC and Rwanda have just signed a major agreement aimed at bringing lasting peace. But is the deal what it seems on the surface? More of that in a moment. But first, the DRC is also marking 65 years of independence. Let's hear what Congolese people have to say on the state of the nation.
This country doesn't have independence or peace, but the day we do have peace is when this country will truly be free.
Today, the difference we see, it's not just one group. Foreign soldiers are arriving here, different kinds of soldiers. But we don't see any changes from those soldiers who say they're coming to help us. No, the talk of war continues.
In fact, we can say that the struggle of our founding fathers for independence has been betrayed by the new generations, by those who came after the founding fathers of the Democratic Republic of Congo's independence. And wherever Lumumba may be now, he would say that, in any case, the vision for which the founding fathers demanded independence for this country, this cause has not been honoured.
Now, it's difficult to talk about African liberation without mentioning Patrice Lumumba, the founding father, as we've heard there, and the first Prime Minister of an independent Democratic Republic of the Congo. We'll hear his daughter's reflections shortly, but first, here's a portrait of the Congolese icon.
This is Congo's first Prime Minister just hours ahead of his murder. Patrice Lumumba was assassinated months after freeing Congo from Belgian colonial rule. But let's take a step back. Here's Lumumba negotiating Congo's independence in Belgium. And here he is on the day of Congo's independence, giving an impromptu and fiery speech.
Nous avons connu les ironies, les insultes, les coups que nous devions subir matin, midi et soir, parce que nous étions des nègres.
The man in white is the Belgian King Baudouin. He was shocked that Lumumba dared to speak about the atrocities committed by Belgian colonialists. Baudouin and other Western leaders saw Lumumba as a threat to their power. And above all, they wanted to keep control of Congo's mineral resources. So they sided with his political enemies and orchestrated his assassination. Congolese and Belgian officers executed Lumumba on January 17, 1961. The assassination had the tacit consent of the US, who had previously planned to use the CIA to murder Lumumba. Lumumba's body was mutilated and dissolved in acid. Only a tooth, which a Belgian officer kept as a trophy, remained. It wasn't until 2022 that Belgium returned the tooth to his family and formally apologized.
Un homme a été assassiné pour ses convictions politiques.
But until today, no one was ever held accountable.
And with us now is Juliana Lumumba, the daughter of Patrice Lumumba, joining us on the lines. Good to have you with us. Your father would have turned 100 years old this week. How do you, looking back, how do you remember him?
How do I remember him? I was so little, but I was most of the time with my father when I was awake. So, almost there. He was very near. I was near my father. I used to go with him in his office when I was little, when he was Prime Minister, looking at him working. So, a very, comment on dit, tendre. My English is not good. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Comment je dis? Il était très tendre, très près.
Very tender, very gentle.
Very tender, yes.
Right. And looking back over time since the tragic events, it's been a long search for accountability for you and the rest of your family following your father's killing. What would justice look like for you?
Justice will look like for me to know the truth about what really happened. Because everybody talk about assassination. Everybody agree that he was assassinated. But there is nobody is accountable of that. But for me, it was not, we celebrate. And we're doing the commemoration here as exact from the 2nd of July 2025 to 2nd of July 2026. And he was not assassinated because he was Patrice Lumumba. He was assassinated for his values, his conviction, his faith, and especially for liberty. And economic sovereignty, especially because he wanted social justice for all, that the riches of the Congo will be distributed to all the Congolese. And that was against the interest of the Belgian regime at the moment. We've heard a lot of things, we knew a lot of things, but we don't have the truth. Who's accountable of his murder? Nobody is, culpable. Nobody,
Held responsible.
Culpable in English. Nobody is responsible. No Belgian, no Congolese, no American, nobody.
And there is an ongoing case. I know we can't say too much about it because it's in court, but there is some kind of something happening. Does that bring you any comfort, or do you still have questions?
I have questions because it's been in court for 13 years. It hasn't been in court today, but for 10 years, nothing happened. And now, because it was in court against 12 persons, 11 of them died. Davignon is the only one who's still alive. He's 92. So we're going step by step. It's not comfort. We are, comment on dit, en avance. We are going further. Why not?
How would you want future generations, when you talk to younger people, when you talk to your family members, how do you want them to remember Patrice Lumumba? How do you want his legacy to be taken forward?
They already remember him because when I was in the broadcasting with youth, they were between 12 and 20 something. And they were talking about Lumumba. They asked me a lot of questions. And especially, they wanted in the educational system, they wanted to have better school, better structures. And they said Lumumba had the independence with his pen and his speech. And we want to be other Lumumbas. And they want to work better. And it was very emotional for me that very young Congolese remember him like this, and they were proud of being Congolese. Not only because they remember him, but because they accept his values, values saying that we will show the world what a black man can do when he works in freedom. And that's his value, having determination, having strength to believe in themselves, to go further. And they want to be part of the development of the country. And that for me is part of his legacy. And I can say I'm proud of this. And when I see also in the youngster in my family, and they believe in it, and they are, they are doing it already. So his legacy is going on.
Okay. We appreciate your thoughts and your time, Juliana Lumumba. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much, too. Have a nice day.